If you were to ask me a few months ago, what team-based, class-based, third-person fighting games do you know in Roblox? I would have asked you to repeat that again, but seriously, I would have said Critical Strike, it's this game. If you were to ask me now what team-based, class-based, third-person fighting games do you know in Roblox, I would sit you down, strap your hands and legs to the chair, and show you this. This truly is one of the LEGO games ever. I like to think that the guy that made Fighting, Aiden, was in school one day and accidentally spelled fighting as fighting with a PH. And everybody laughed at him, prompting him to think, oh, I'll show them. I'll show them all. And so, Fighting grazed the earth with its presence a while later. Anyway, Fighting is a super awesome computer game in which you can become many different characters, like a super awesome skater with an 8, and run people over with your skateboard, also with an 8. In all seriousness though, the actual objective of the game is to pick up one of these characters. There's lore in the game, by the way, and I would make a map pack game theory joke, but he's leaving, and kill all the people with different abilities.
Flower.
There are 2 game modes. The first being kill everybody that's on the opposing team, and the second being a capture the control point thing. Unlike most games though, there's only one control point, so all 10 schizophrenic maniacs are in one place, and is this what hell looks like? No wonder war veterans have PTSD. When you spawn into the game, you'll be met with the hardest boss in all of gaming, starting the game. 99.9% of players can't play this game. Can you? Don't worry guys, because I'm here to help. You see, right in front of where you spawn is a massive play sign. The first time I played Fighting, I had no idea how to start the game, and quit a couple of minutes later. Almost a full year later, I came back and, well, I never really looked back. But before I go over there, I'll go over this hub world thing. Its name is Crossroads because the classic Roblox game, and because this map has Crossroads. Directly left of the play sign are 2 people. The first shows your KD, your assists, and your win streak. The other guy is how you change your name tags. More on that later. This guy is canonically a stoner. Talking to the background anime characters walking around leads to different gags, but some of what they say is pretty depressing. Sword is a must for exploring the map. His abilities are perfectly suited to travelling. Speaking of the map, in different places across the map, there's Easter eggs and secrets. Along with skins. Skins for the classes, that is. Some look pretty cool, some look weird, and some are cat girls. They give some dialogue, and then you're presented with the option to buy them. The game's currency, books. Every time you get a kill or an assist or win a game, you get books when the game's over, I think. I'm not quite sure. There's no microtransactions or game passes in Fighting, besides donations and something else I'll explain later. So you actually have to work for a skin you want and spend hours grinding. If there's one negative with the skins in this game, it's the fact that it's very easy to overlook skins when you're searching for them. An example would be this medkit skin. Look how easy it is to miss. Or this sword skin, who costs the most of any skin in the game. On the flip side, Fighting reference! There's a Hyper Razor skin you can see from the moment the game loads, which is my favourite skin location. It's such a neat little detail. Okay, I've stalled enough. Let's get into the fighting part of Fighting. If you're lucky, you'll start the intermission bit of Fighting when your match is yet to begin. But most people start when the match is ongoing. No pressure, but you should probably pick a character as fast as possible so you don't let your team down. Do it with your eyes closed for all I care. Okay, so I'm gonna flip a coin. Heads for medkit and tails for sword. Tails, okay. I picked sword for the first time and became the MVP. I've lost a screenshot, so you just have to believe me. Anyway, this is a pretty good time to segue into the different characters, which is what I'll do, starting now. Every character or fighter in Fighting is split into one of 3 different groups: melee, ranged, and support. Sword, for example, is melee, but that doesn't mean he has no range attacks. He has 2 ranged abilities for whatever reason. Melee character out here having more ranged attacks than a ranged character. Originally, I was going to go through every aspect of every fighter, but I don't want to bore anyone. So I'll just briefly talk about the most interesting parts of every fighter and rank them on a tier list. I like tier lists. Skateboard has two forms, one where you're a normal bozo walking around, and another involves you zooming around the map, going faster than the speed of infinity, times 6. Loads of fun traversing crossroads does him. It's for this reason that I'm putting him at S rank, and I don't think I need to explain further. I love Biograph's finisher. Finisher is an ultimate ability that charges up slowly. Think of the most satisfying moment you've ever experienced. Now imagine that but slightly worse, and you have Biograph killing the entire enemy team in 2 seconds. Biograph fits nicely into A tier. Now I will say I'm not the biggest fan of Katana. It feels like you hold in left click for 80% of the match with little to no strategy involved, but I do like his Q ability. You pull someone in for a smooch, and when they inevitably pull away, you slap them. C tier. Banhammer is the heavy of fighting. Like, I swear to God, he just won't die no matter how much I hit him. But he's really fun to play as. You could argue that Banhammer also involves holding left click for 80% of the match, but the difference here is how much weight is in each swing of his hammer. You can feel the pain you're inflicting on your enemies. His finisher also literally one-shots people if certain conditions are met. Launches enemies into space like a baseball. Foreshadowing. Banhammer is definitely a high A on the tier list. Rocket reminds me of Soldier from TF2, so he's instantly going up to A tier on the tier list for that alone. Soldier. Anyway, he can easily deal a crap ton of damage, and his finisher has the potential to obliterate the enemy team. S tier for me. Hyper Laser requires you to be able to aim, but I can't. When I am able to aim though, picking off the enemy's health is a blast. His E ability lets him get to very creative spots on the map, and his finisher lets him one-shot people. This time, there's no conditions like Banhammer, just don't miss. A tier. Slingshot is my backup main because it is so easy to top score with him. Moving around with him is fun. His abilities are fun. His finisher makes him a sniper. He's so much fun to play. S tier without a shadow of a doubt. Shuriken's E ability uses the Forbidden Shadow Clone Jutsu. Look, he even uses the hand signs and creates a clone, which you can teleport to when you press E again. His Q ability lets him grapple to any wall, allowing you to reach even more creative spots. B tier. Here it is guys, the big one. I'm a medkit main. Anyway, every single one of medkit's abilities can heal his allies. Unfortunately, his right click ability can only heal other people. He can also solo most fighters, because his E and right click abilities deal a pretty sizable chunk of damage. His finisher revives his allies and all this. He may not be the most fun fighter to play for me, Skateboard and Slingshot take the cake, but he's my favourite. I like hitting people in games because it's just hard to mess up, and this here can output so much damage. Medkit goes in the secret yeah tier, above S tier. Me playing Boombox is like a whale trying to fit into a bungalow. We just can't. It feels like my brain is breaking down trying to play this anomaly. Boombox fits snugly into your tier, or maybe D tier. I'll put them in both. Subspace is a pretty strategic fighter, being mostly used for, from what I can tell, defense and support, whittling down the enemy's health with his Q&A abilities, but I could be wrong. Go tell me in the comments, Subspace mains. If I sunk more time into him, I'd probably end up really enjoying him. I'll probably do that sometime after finishing this video. B tier for now, but A tier for potential. I really like Vine Staff. She can do so much damage despite being support, and her plants are an awesome idea. Her finisher is also awesome. All around a fun character to play as. High A tier or low S tier. Sword is a B in the tier list. No gimmicks, but a fun character nonetheless. You can't go wrong with them. Scythe hasn't come out yet, but I have footage of a tester playing as her in my server. Guys, it's Scythe and literally everybody's here. Look, he's crying. Give him some space. Hi.
There.
Crickets only. Oh, what's going on now? Oh.
Where you going?
This is so cool. Best character design. Look at the detail and the colors. Super excited to see your skins. Awesome lore potential and the ability to switch between two different forms like skateboard. Looks so cool. The community went berserk when they discovered she's woman, which was hilarious to see. Definitely maining her when she comes out. S tier from what I've seen. Every map in Phighting has a lot of care put into it, and if I went through every map, I'd be here all day, and possibly the next two. So I'll just go through the more notable maps, starting with Banland, based off Banland. I'm getting a lot of this information from the wiki, so go check that out if you want. It isn't hard to fall into the lava and die here, because it's so dark, but it does fit the theme of the map. There's a cage with a sign saying "Dumb Idiot Zone," and there's someone in it. His name is Broker, and I'll explain more when I get around to the lore of Phighting. Just give me time, okay? I'll get there eventually, okay? Anyway, next up is Doomspire. You spawn in these Doomspire brick battle towers high up in the air, and fall down to an airport, where you can get run over by a freaking plane. Then there's Hotel Elephant. This map is jam-packed with stuff. It's really nice to look at. Though with all the objects, stuff's bound to get in the way. Another map where objects can be annoying is Roblox HQ. I've seen a lot of people in-game say they don't like the map, and I get where they're coming from. It's laughably easy to fall off and die, but I love the chaotic nature of it. Roblox Laundromat is one of the few maps where, in the final 1 minute of the game, the map will change, and I don't mean visually like some other maps. Water will rise, cutting off loads of the map. One of my personal favourite maps is Roblox Mall because it feels like you're actually in a mall. The centre of the map is one of those laser zones, and there's different doors to get into it. All around a fun time. The bread factory involves you going to the centre of the map to capture the point, then getting slammed by the crusher thing because you didn't pay attention to the visual cue telling you it was coming down. Pretty funny if you ask me. And finally, the best map, no cap. Rob the Roblox Bank. In the center of the map is an open vault, and when there's 1 minute and 15 seconds left of the round, the vault will close and be lifted up to the ceiling, leaving a gap where it used to be.
Get those robbers out of the bank, dead or alive.
It may seem small when I'm telling you this, but it is so cool in-game when you first experience it. On my first time playing the map, I was in the vault when the doors shut and I was like, oh god, don't tell me I'm stuck in here, Jesus Christ. I didn't notice I was being lifted. The only real human voice from what I know in the entire game is here. The best 1 minute modifier thing is here. When there's 30 seconds left, this happens. Being a criminal is awesome. The final couple of things I have left to talk about in terms of maps are multiplier rounds and sword rounds. Multiplier rounds come in two different variants, 13 times and 66.6 times, and are rare. 13 times rounds increase the bucks you earn by 13 times, 66.6 times rounds increase it by 66.6 times. From what I'm aware anyway. I swear to god, I always play so in these rounds, like I could top score the two previous rounds, playing better than my dad slapping his belly to the beat of It's Amore. Plays like 6 out of 10 on a multiplier round. Then the very next round, I go back to top scoring. It's so annoying, but enough whinging. On to sword rounds. There's a 5% chance every round for it to be a sword round, as I like to call it. If you're familiar at all with Roblox's gears, you've probably seen one of these classic swords, and quite a few of them make an appearance in Phighting. When there's 1 minute left, a sword, megaphone, or microphone, it'll make more sense later, will appear, speak, and something unique to each gear will happen. Zombies will spawn because of Venom Shank, for instance. However, there's two ways for a guaranteed sword round to appear. The first is when a multiplier round appears. Remember when I said that there was no game passes or microtransactions in fighting step 1? Well, this is that one. Spending 100 Zobucks guarantees a sword round will appear, but you can only buy 2 at a time. It's a badge you get from experiencing a max sword round, all 7 gear in 1 round, and I do not like that. Locking a badge behind actual luck is straight up unfair. You need like 4 people that are willing to spend their hard-earned Robux to get a stupid badge that shouldn't exist. Thumbs down from me. Fighting has, and this may be hard to believe, but fighting has its own music made by a few different people, which is pretty rad, not gonna lie. Remember that part at the beginning of the video? This part? That was composed by a crab. All of the music fits perfectly with the chaotic yet clean gameplay that is fighting, and hey, wait a minute, this is plagiarism. There's even an in-universe reason for the music existing, flip side, which I'll eventually explain. Oh my god, how many times have I said this? All of the music in this video comes from fighting. Overall, pretty cool. I have the emojis on my script, by the way. It's rare to see a Roblox game with its own music. Thumbs up from me. The fighting lore can be pretty wacky at times, but in a good way. So what I'll do is I'm going to go through the more important parts and then go through the intriguing and goofy parts. If you want to know more stuff, go check out the wiki. There'll be a link to it in the description. Every fighter in fighting is from one of 4 regions: Blackrock, Playground, Thieves' Den, or Lost Temple, though some have stopped affiliating themselves with any regions or switched regions. Medkit, for example, was originally from Blackrock, but after arguing with his co-worker, that may be a bit of an understatement, he left and is now affiliated with Lost Temple. The wiki says this about Lost Temple: it is a prosperous, wealthy desert where only the rich thrive. A small detail that I absolutely love is, because Lost Temple is a super rich region, Medkit has gold on his gun and briefcase. Pity it weighs him down. Imagine how fast he'd be if he weighed 20 kilograms less. My headcanon is the reason Medkit has gold on his stuff is because he'd be too fast if he took them off. He'd be like freaking Rock Lee. Every character is born with a gear. Think of the megaphone and microphone, but there's some that got theirs stolen. Remember this guy? Yep, he somehow managed to get his stolen at the very beginning of the game. When you play the game for the very first time on an account, you remember this. I can't do it right now, I can't show you it, so I'll just draw it. The opening fighting thing happens, then you'll see Dom and Valk, and they'll speak, and you get introduced to them. Yeah. Oh my god, this is so off. And they're probably rich if they can afford Dominuses and Valkyries. Dom uses a megaphone and Valk uses a microphone, and the two of them together form the group known as Flipside. They, get this, canonically make some of the music you hear in game. I have never ever seen a game do something like this, so props to the person or people that thought of incorporating an in-universe reason for the music. Which brings me to the next thing, the Infinity with a PH. According to the wiki, the Infinity is a sentient entity that is the fighting universe. I really don't understand how fighting itself is sentient. Maybe it's the idea of it. By the way, it's broadcasted to civilians like a reality TV show, and the viewers have different opinions of the different fighters. This could possibly, maybe, perhaps be a nod to us, the players, preferring to play as some fighters over others. While we're on the subject of the Infinity, I want to show you the last 2 lines on the wiki page. The first says, the legal drinking age is 21, fair enough. But the second says, for all of eternity, you will never escape. No idea if this is just whoever wrote this page of the wiki having a laugh, or if it's an actual quote in-game. By the way, Dom and Valk's parents are divorced. While neither of their parents are shown on the wiki, their grandfather is. Meet Firebrand. Remember when I was talking about sword rounds earlier? Well, every sword in fighting is actually a character, despite the name Firebrand. The wiki says he's the gentlest of all the sword people. It also says his hands are too hot to touch. The last thing I'll talk about before moving on to the goofy stuff is... this guy from Badland. He's from Lost Temple, keep this in mind. Him being in the dumb idiot zone isn't just a gag. Look, you can see he has chains stuck to his right arm in his character design. You can call him a Crossroads, right here, and he says different stuff depending on the fighter you're playing as. And when you're Banhammer, he says, "Wait, what? I'm not going back to jail!" Yeah, he should already be in jail. It'll be interesting to see what he says to Scythe, his boss. Oh yeah, he works with Scythe and Medkit. The wiki says that Broker seems very happy and joyful, but my game theory is that it's all probably a facade. When playing as Medkit and calling him, his last few lines are, "Honestly, you moving into Crossroads has been nothing but an inconvenience for all of us. I thought we were supposed to protect you, you know? That's kind of the entire deal. If I didn't know any better, I would think you're trying to run away from us." Don't mess this up. Does this sound like a happy and joyful guy at heart? Or how about when he's talking to Vinestaff? "Oh? You're the flower demon, huh? How quaint. Say, that's some nasty curse you got there. Rare, but I've seen it before. Guess you just got unlucky." But I have a feeling that you've made peace with it. Sometimes I see you outside, mending the dead flora like some kind of miracle worker. It's amazing, really. I have to go now, but you're an interesting one. Do keep in touch, alright? But who knows? That's the joy of creating theories for an ongoing story, with stuff being revealed. Although, the final piece of evidence I have towards my theory is Broker was also arrested for murder, manslaughter, and gear laundering. He's not a good guy. One final thing before I stop talking about Broker, okay? He sometimes watches Slingshot baking it in his shop from the window. Yeah, this guy's a creep. Okay, on to the really bizarre stuff. Sword's mohawk is a piece of metal welded to his head. You know how some people get tattoos? I guess Sword thought that was stupid and did the better thing. Rocket does not have biological parents. I love that he literally just descended from the heavens one day and nobody batted an eye. Except he doesn't. There's something called the Spawn, and kids pop out from there with their own gear. There's a link to the Spawn's wiki page in the description if you want to check it out. In the lore section of Boombox's wiki page, it stated that, and I quote, "Boombox has not killed a single person, and his personality is Boombox would be a street performer to make an extra book. I'm still waiting for someone to say, he's literally me." Shuriken snores when he sleeps. He is the loudest snorer in the fighting universe. I was wondering who snores the loudest. Skateboard is the worst at chess. Keep in mind, this is in the lore section of his page. Wonder if the lore is he lost at chess once and vowed to become a skateboarder. Mekit's the best at chess, if you were wondering. Scythe's Scythe's occupations are listed as unknown / serial killer. I can't imagine a job interview. I can't imagine a job interview would go very well. This character called Zuka is missing his right arm and part of his left horn. The wiki says the reasons behind these is unknown, and I'm not kidding when I'm saying this, but the very next paragraph reveals he used to be a soldier. Another character, Darkheart, is an 11 on the silly scale, according to Soda. Soda is someone who works on the game. Shame there's no silly scale for any other character. I'd like to see Broker on it. Medkit's favorite coffee is black coffee. He also has a very sophisticated taste, eating only the finest foods, like pizza. He thinks that consuming stuff like juice is childish. Would you believe me if I told you I had some orange juice beside me right now? Probably not, though it is true regardless. Side note, I did have it when I was writing the script for this part. I don't have it right now when I'm voicing over the script, but I did at one point. Okay, we're getting closer to the end of the video now. I just have a few things I didn't get to mention in the main part of the video, like titles. Getting a set amount of kills or assists or whatever gets you one of these, and they're showing it when you kill somebody or when a round is starting. And Traffic the Stoner, but not a loner, lets you swap between them. But something else gets you a title too, and that's Phighting's badges. I mentioned it earlier on with the max sword round, but most of the time, I can hear the Vine staff and Banhammer mains crying. Doing something as a specific fighter, like reviving 3 people with Medkit's finisher, gives you a Roblox badge and a title in-game. Some of these suck, unfortunately, like Medkits. I've been trying to get it for 8 hours, and I gave up hope long ago that I'd ever get it. On my second day of attempts, I said in the chat that it's really annoying to get, and some absolute god with the game said it's actually really easy to get. Maybe with Medkit lower 89, a player regarded as the best Medkit player in the world. Hopefully I get that good one day. In the wiki page for Banhammer, it says that he likes golfing. Well, take a look at his finisher. I don't know if that's him golfing someone away, like I gulped my orange juice today, or if it's just a baseball move. It looks like the latter to me, but I know nothing about either sport, so tell me in the comments if you know. This is yet another desperate ploy to get more people to comment on my videos. Right now, the community is, pardon my language, is super chill and relaxed. I've seen people saying that if a big YouTuber like Flamingo were to play this game, it would bring a swarm of new players and toxic players. I mean, I get where they're coming from, but every community has its bad eggs or chickens or whatever the saying is, including Phighting. They said that 10% of every community is toxic. Although I imagine that's a rough estimate, it probably varies from fanbase to fanbase. Maybe eventually the toxic fanbase because it's a fighting game disease will catch up to it. But right now is not then. What am I even saying at this point? I briefly mentioned a character called Zuka earlier, and he likes to smoke with Traffic. But that begs the question, does vaping exist in the Phighting universe? And if so, who vapes? Who cares about who's the best at chess or being silly? I need my answers, Soda. I went through some of the maps earlier on, but what if I were to tell you that there are others? Making a private server, they're free, and typing in /force, and then whatever map you want to go to, teleports you to that map. There are a few maps you can access normally, so this is the only way to play them. I'll only talk about one map, the others aren't as interesting, called Test 2. If the name didn't hint at it, well, this is a test map. See this lizard/gecko thing? That's a payload. It's the same as in TF2, where you push the payload to the end while the opposing team tries to stop you. Sorry it's broken because when it reaches the end, the game doesn't stop until the timer reaches 0, and even then, it goes into overtime. Up at the top is 2 bars, so I guess if you have someone else with you, they can push a different payload. But I'm on my own. Supposedly it's a reused map from Phighting 2, Godzilla Man's Wrath. Maybe this guy is Godzilla? I did actually play Phighting 2, bringing me nicely into my next paragraph. Phighting 2, made by one guy that isn't related to the original game. Aiden and Soda are in this group though, so maybe he does have a part in Phighting. The first thing that stood out to me was the lack of music. The next was that there's some fighters we know and love, but there's also a new one, Coils. So I decided to be him for my playthrough. Clicking into him brings you to the hardest choice in all of gaming. Original or isometric? I went with the original. Now, an awesome thing that could easily be in normal Phighting is the ability to switch between the coils. If you don't know what Roblox's coils are, they're gears that come in 3 different colours. Blue for low gravity, red for speed, and green for healing. And they're all present in this game. The map I spawned into was very basic, but the idea behind it was pretty unique. Touching this gem in the center of the map triggers the alarm system, and these red lights appear. Coming in contact with them does 5 damage. The ground also rises occasionally. Then one of my friends joined. I got them to kill me. I respawned at a place that looks suspiciously like Test 2, because it was. But Godzilla was missing, so I left and disliked the game. Here we are at the end of the video. There will be links in the description for different stuff, so check those out if you want. I want to thank my Patreon supporters real quick. They're on screen right now. Without them, none of this would have been possible. I'd also like to thank my friends and family for the motivation to make this video. Without them too, this video wouldn't have been made. I also want to thank Aiden and everyone else that's helped shape Phighting into whatever the hell it is now. Without them, it literally wouldn't be possible to make this video. If you hate this video and want me dead, make sure to comment that. Thanks. Speaking of thanks for watching, guys. Your continued support means the world to me. It'd mean the solar system if you could watch some more of my vids. I feel like I should say more, but I can't think of anything else, so I guess this is the end. It's been an honor, guys. Something that reminds me of a soldier quote. I think it's a pretty good way to end the video. If fighting is sure to result in victory, then you must fight. Aiden said that. I'd say he knows a little more about fighting than you do, pal, because he invented it, and he perfected it so that no living man could best him in the Ring of Honor.